for attending and welcome you to the 2024 Coordinator Training for the State of Ohio Combined Charitable Campaign. And getting a little bit of feedback. There we go. If everybody has their, can make sure that their computer is, their mic is muted unless they are actively speaking, that would be helpful. I can hear somebody else typing or, and there's some other noise. But I want to thank you for joining. We're excited to have you here for the campaign. I want to welcome you and thank you for your time, your willingness to join us for this training. It's important, and the campaign is important. It's hard to believe tomorrow is August, and that the campaign kicks off here later in August. And your willingness to support this tremendous campaign helps so many people in our own community and throughout the world. And your role is critical to the support of the campaign. And we depend on you to make the campaign a success. You know, there are so many pieces that make the campaign a success, but we have found that the most important factor is truly the coordinator's communication directly with their employees, the teammates, getting that communication face-to-face and emails and events and so forth is what puts a face to the campaign. And so we greatly appreciate all that you do to make this campaign a success. Today, we are going to hear from several different people. We're going to hear from our liaisons. They're going to help do some of the training, and we are going to help go over the e-pledge system and some of the materials that you'll be using. Some of you, this might be your first time as a coordinator or second time, and you need a refresh. Some of you may have done this quite a few times, but you know, you only do it once a year and it's not your regular job. So it's always good to get a refresher and make sure that you're up to date on how we're doing things. You know, we'll also go over special events and so forth. We'll have, you know, time for questions at the end. We'll always make time for questions, but feel free to ask questions at any point during the entire program. You can either put them in the chat, and Janine is monitoring that and will let me know if I miss it and I don't see it, so that we can answer it, or you can, you know, raise your hand and then we can call on you. In case there's a question that, you know, you don't want to forget at the end, it's pertinent to what we're discussing at that moment. So, you know, we want to make sure that we have a dialogue and that we're answering the questions and that come up as they do. So, now this is an important collaboration between management led by the governor and organized labor. You know, we have our chairs, the co-chairs, we have a state steering committee, the campaign coordinating organization that I'm with, and you know, we have our liaisons and so forth. And so you know, this is very important that we all work as a team. This year, we have nearly 1,000 charities that are involved with the campaign. And that's a lot of different charities from which to choose and to support. Last year, the campaign raised just over $2.2 million. This year, our goal is again to raise over $2 million. And with your support, I know that we can do that. The generosity of the Ohio state workers has been amazing each and every year, stepping up and helping us raise so much money for so many in need. We want to make sure that we continue to reach out and do whatever we can to reach that goal. The campaign dates, we will touch on this again throughout this presentation, some of the different dates that are important. The campaign will kick off on August 20th and will wrap up on October 18th. You should have each gotten an email this morning that gave you some of that information, that told you that the campaign will kick off on August 20th. So keep a lookout for more communications like that. The resource guide, we already have them out and available in print form, and of course they are available electronically. They are available both on ePledge site and on the campaign website, which I will show you later. You can get them, as a PDF and get all of the different information. It is a vast resource of information showing every one of the 1,000 charities that are involved, as well as a great deal of other information about the campaign. It is truly a resource that you might need throughout the campaign. Then this year's campaign slogan is again, coming together to give. As I mentioned, the collaboration and the chairs are Mike DeWine, Governor, and Chris Mabe, President of OCSEA. This year's honorary chair is Bobby Carpenter, and he is, if you're not familiar, former Ohio State All-American football player and NFL player. He is a media personality every day on the radio in Columbus and on XM radio, also a professor and a motivational speaker, and we look forward to hearing him speak at the kickoff on August 20th. You'll also see him on the video, the campaign video, when it is released. The campaign liaisons that you'll be hearing from shortly, we again have the same liaisons that we had last year. Jackie Bradley back for, I believe, 7th year at least, and Georgina back for a 2nd year. You will be getting contacted from one of these two liaisons that will be your contact throughout the campaign. They will be your source for campaign materials, for pickups, helping you with brainstorming, getting ideas for meetings, event support, getting speakers for events, all different types of things. So keep in contact with them. This year's participating federations are listed here. They are also in the resource guide and the website and so forth. The federations are these umbrella organizations, nonprofit organizations. Each of the 1,000 charities are underneath these federations. So they house many different charities underneath them, and many of these have different types of causes, like Global Impact having international causes, or some having more healthcare related or local related and so forth. There is information about them and their charities also in the resource guide. Our campaign co-chairs are, again, representing the governor, Jackie Murray in the office of the governor, and Rocky Jolly, the OCSEA vice president. And we have Federation videos and campaign videos that are available to you. These videos can be used, to be sent out to your employees for events or for meetings, promoting events you're going to be having, or especially if that event might be trying to raise money for a particular charity and you want to get a little video that's for that particular charity. So we have different videos that we can offer. Can you hear that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I got to go back and do the share sound. Just added, and now it's not letting me do the share include sound. There we go. Right now?
Yes.
Thank you. That is just one example of a Federation video that can be used. It's a short one, just gives a quick example of some of the work that that particular Federation does. Next, I would like to turn it over to one of our liaisons to discuss our e-pledge system. Jackie Bradley is going to now take over and give you a review of our e-pledge system. So.
Yep. Good afternoon, everybody. As Brian said, I have been a campaign liaison. This is my 7th year now. I'm happy and excited to be working with you guys with the campaign again this year. I'll be going over a little bit about the e-pledge system and some of the features that it has in it. Most of you are already familiar with e-pledge, but as a coordinator, you're also responsible, or one of the responsibilities is to kind of help some of your coworkers maneuver through e-pledge just in case that they have questions. So just to kind of refamiliarize yourself, or for those coordinators that are new, to get a quick peek at what e-pledge is all about. So as any state employee, other than those with the Turnpike Commission, and Brian, if you could go back a couple of slides to see how they log into e-pledge.
Well, that's the first one.
Okay. Well, advance one then for me if you can.
There.
So yes. So all state employees will log into ePledge using the myohio.gov link and click on the MyCC link and be directed to your personal pledge in ePledge. The Turnpike Commission has a different logon, which is the next slide that we can see. Yes. And from here, anybody that works for Turnpike will log into the Applications tab. And then I'm going to try to share my screen. Can everybody see the ePledge screen?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Great. Thank you. So when you log into ePledge as a donor, this is the home screen that you'll see. As Brian said, the slogan this year is Coming Together to Give. The campaign banner has changed this year. It looks just like the outside cover of the resource guide. So that's one of the differences. And you'll come to the message from Bobby Carpenter, who's the honorary state chair this year. One of the features that you have is we can click on your account profile. I'll click that on. And what that does is that gives you information about your personal account in ePledge, your email address, your home address. These are things that you do have the ability to change. Once you make a pledge, you'll get a confirmation, and then that confirmation will go to the ePledge address that you have selected here. So those are things that you can change. They're just things that you might want to check on as you're going through ePledge. One of the other features is you can look up your past year pledges, your account history. There's a tab up here at the top, and we will give you any history information for the last 5 years. This is just an example, a test thing that we set up. So if there was information here, it would identify how much you gave, what your pledge amount was. And if you could also go back and take a look to see which charities you designated your dollars to. There's not any particular information in here. This is just an example so that you could see. Other features of the resource, the ePledge is we have this Help Resources tab. And it gives you electronic guide. The electronic guide is there. You can click on it and bring up the resource guide. So information, exactly how the resource guide is printed is what you'll be able to see here in an electronic form. It's an alphabetical listing, a numerical listing for the 5-digit resource codes. There's a contact information in here for all of the federations that Brian mentioned, an agency campaign coordinator list that lists your information as coordinators and coordinators for each of the other state agencies. A lot of times people like to use those as resources to connect with other coordinators to see maybe what kind of events they may be having, or if their offices are in close proximity to each other, they may want to combine fundraising efforts. So you can connect with other coordinators and just kind of get an idea of maybe what's happening at their agency, or just to kind of connect with them. So those are some of the features that ePledge has. Now, this button, it's kind of hidden back here, but you can also get to it from the home screen, and it's the Pledge Now button. And as a donor, this is how you'll get into ePledge to make your own personal pledge. There's many different ways that you can pledge. You can give through payroll deduction. You can give one-time contributions using your credit or debit card or an electronic check, or you can also choose thank you, but I do not wish to contribute this year. So for testing purposes, one of the new features is you'll also see this little welcome message. It says, welcome Test State Ohio donor. That your name will show up there. And that also lets you know that you're where you're supposed to be in your own personal account. So we're just going to click on payroll deduction so that you can see what it looks like. You'll scroll down. This lets you know that your deductions start taking out January of 2025. You can enter the amount that you want to have deducted per pay, or just enter a total pledge amount for the whole year. This pay periods per year amount, either say 12 or 26. Most state employees are paid 26 times a year, but there are a few that are paid 12 times a year. So for testing purposes, it just says 12. So for example, I want to give $20 a pay. I put the 20 in, and then this automatically calculates what my total annual pledge will be to $240. And you'll notice that there's this little box that shows up, and it will stay on the page regardless of where you are in the pledge donation section. And it just kind of lets you know where you are, how much money you designated, how much you still have left to designate. And it's just kind of a check and balance to kind of help you along. You can just continue to scroll down and we'll select our charity. If you know the 5-digit code from the resource guide, you can enter it here. And I've picked up just a few that we can test to search on. And I entered the number 16001. And this is the charity that popped up, A Kid Again. It's got the charity code, and that's the right one. That's the charity I want. I got that from the resource guide. So I'll hit this little plus sign to select that charity. Then it will drop down and ask me, how much do I want to donate to them? So I'm going to choose $100. And then you'll notice that the box over here changed. My total pledge is 200. I've already designated 100, and I have 140 left to donate. So I want to give to a second charity. So I'm just going to scroll back up right under the search for your charity information. And I don't know the number of the charity that I want to give to, but I know that I want to give to a charity that provides services for dogs. So I'm just going to type in dogs and see what kind of charity information comes up. And there's quite a few charities within the guide this year that help dogs. I'm going to choose Dogs for Deaf and Disabled Americans. So click the plus sign. It shows up down here, and then how much do I want to donate to them? And I want to donate $100. My box has changed. It's telling me I still have $40 undesignated, and I don't have to designate those $40. I can let that money go into the undesignated fund, and I'm okay with that. But the idea is that you can come up to the search screen, the search section, and search on a charity and enter as many charities as you like. I think, well, I'm not going to say how many there are, but I think it's either 5 or 8 that you can donate to. But that gives you this little box just gives you an easy way for you to see where you are. And then I can click confirm. You get pledge confirmation that tells you your pledge has been confirmed. And then it also gives you just a brief recaptures the information that you've just entered. And it tells you where all of your designations are, what they are and where they went to. and then you can print it if you'd like. And we're just going to go back up to the top. And let's say, for example, that I gave a pledge donation, but later on during the year, some things happened. They're asking for special or additional pledges to support, relief efforts, or you're having a fundraising event, and I can give an additional pledge through either the fundraising event, I want to purchase a cookbook or whatever. Just scroll down and you can click on additional pledge. One thing to note is that any additional pledge you make is an additional pledge. It does not cancel out the other. And for example, I want to do a one-time donation, so I'm going to choose electronic check. My little box pops up here to the right, and I'm going pretty much through the same process I did with the pledge donation. It's going to ask me how much I want to give. The minimum is $26. I want to purchase a cookbook, and so I put the $26 in there, and then I can designate it or I can leave it undesignated. And we won't complete it, but that's just for, just for these purposes, just so that you could see how the pledge section works, whether you're giving through credit card, one-time check, or a payroll pledge process, payroll pledge. Does anybody have any questions on that section?
There was a question in the chat. How do non-state employees or contractors pledge, which obviously they wouldn't be able to give through ePledge, since that's you have to be a state employee to give through ePledge. But Jackie, and if you want to, go into, any further about contractors, events, and other ways they might be able to support.
Yeah, non-contractors can give to special events by making a one-time contribution. So they could write a check or give cash, and you would include that information as a special event. So if you're having, a bake sale or a silent auction and they want to participate and they write a check, you would include that money the same way you would as if it were the special event.
Thank you.
Okay, now that's how you get into ePledge as a donor. That's how everybody will get into ePledge. But then because you guys are coordinators, you also have access to special reports. And when you log in, you'll also see this button that says change to coordinator. And since you're going into your coordinator mode, we're just going to click on coordinator. You'll be able to see that the difference in the home screen says welcome to the CCC Agency Campaign Coordinator area. And here's where you have access to certain reports that it's kind of, I think the reason it's kind of hidden on my screen is because I also have this button that says change to administrator, but yours won't say that. So everything will kind of shift to the side. But this button says standard reports. And we'll click on the standard reports or the web reports button. And you'll see that the two options that you have are either the state coordinator no response report or the state coordinator response report. And the response report gives you a list of all employees at your particular agency that have made a pledge through the ePledge system, whether it was cash check or payroll pledge, or has selected that they don't want to give. So anybody that has responded through ePledge system will show up on this response report. And we're just going to click State Coordinator Response Report and hit Submit. And then you'll continue to scroll down. There's this My Output section. It will list any report that you have requested. You can see in the status column, it says that it's writing those reports. You have two reports. One shows up as a PDF version and the other one is Microsoft Excel, and we can hit refresh, because when they're ready, the reports, you'll get an active link, and then the status will change from writing to ready. And we'll click on this one. This says this is the PDF version, and this is just an example of what it looks like. Let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. The PDF version is easier to read. It gives you information on who the donor is, their email address, how much they've given this year, and how much they gave last year, and then you can see. So the ideal here, I think, is so that you can see where your agency is at any point in time. These ePledge reports do only show people that have given through ePledge. So if you have somebody that handed you a paper pledge, that information won't necessarily be captured in this report right away. Let's see. And then the Excel version makes it a little more manipulatable. You see that Excel version? You can do different sorts on this. A lot of times when I was working, oh, let's see.
See the
I think I
PDF.
might have to, I think I'd probably have to stop sharing this one and bring up the next one. Sure. Well, we'll show it to you. We've got a printout of it that is in part of the information that Brian has.
Right.
So we can show it there. And then you can always go back, and the button allows you to change from the coordinator back to a donor for your own personal pledges. And that's pretty much the basics for the coordinators. A section, like we say, you do have access to those reports. When I was working in state government, one of the things our director would always ask me is, can you tell me how many people have pledged? Can you tell me what our, the percentage of giving is? So they weren't asking for any personal information that's included in those two reports. We do want to stress that the information that's in there is personal information, and it's private, so you're not supposed to divulge any of that, but we provide it for you as a tool to use to give any kind of statistical information, and also just so that you can see where you are in the campaign. Does anybody have any questions on ePledge or any of those reports before I move along? Okay, if not, I'll go ahead and I'll stop sharing my screen. And then Brian, if you don't mind, if you could just bring up the screenshot that does show the Excel version.
Yeah, let me get back to that. Oh, well, we can come back to that because that's actually, there
it is. Yeah. So yeah, that's better. If you want to use Excel to kind of just make it a little easier for you to manipulate through the screens, do a lot of sorts to it, that's available also. That's all I have.
And then that one's the PDF version, so you can run it either way. Wonderful. That was a lot of information. What questions do people have on ePledge? I know there were some questions in the chat that were answered, but maybe not everyone saw. And I think some of these we will be getting kind of covering in other ways coming up. When is the cutoff for ePledge using it? And it's actually today, meaning anyone hired after today would not be eligible to use it. They wouldn't be in the system, so they would have to use paper, and we'll be going over that in the next section. But are there other questions on anything that Jackie went over or anything on ePledge in general? Well, if not, thank you very much, Jackie. And if anybody thinks of something later, then certainly let us know. All right, let me move along. All right. Can you hear that one?
Good afternoon and welcome to the third installment of America's Charities educational series, Saving the World One Paycheck at a Time, where we discuss the real-world impact of employee giving programs in the U.S. and across the
playing two videos. Back and
Environmental challenges are more pressing than ever before, and achieving a solution is going to take all of us. We need your help. Our diverse network of nonprofits strive to create a more just and sustainable world by focusing on the big issues facing all of us: wildlife protection, land conservation, climate justice, sustainable agriculture, healthy oceans, and so much more. When you donate, you help make the world a healthier place for everyone. For example, just $1 per pay period can plant a tree, test 24 water samples for contamination, or purchase supplemental feed for at-risk animals. With your support, our nonprofits can be on the front lines of these critical issues, expanding reach and increasing impact. What kind of world do you want to leave for the next generation?
right. Next, we are going to go over campaign resources, materials, and processes. And I would like to welcome our other campaign liaison, Georgina Hawkins.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Georgina Hawkins, as Brian said, and this is my second year on the campaign, and I'm really happy to be here with you guys. And for those that have met you, I hope that this is a very successful campaign for your agency. I'm going to be going over 4 items this afternoon, and that is the pledge form, the special event form, deposits, and the deposit letter, and then the campaign report envelope. Okay. This year, with the exception of the logo, the pledge form, it's the same pledge form with the exception of the logo that changed. Anyone that wants to donate using cash or check will have to complete a pledge form. Okay. We're encouraging employees to use ePledge if at all possible and make their donations online. But if not, then they can complete a paper pledge form. When pledge forms are completed, they need to be turned in directly to the campaign coordinator. And we know that right now, a lot of us are still working remotely, and it may be difficult to coordinate getting the paper forms and checks. but at least a lot of agencies are open at least once or twice a week that employees come into the office, and they'll be able to leave the pledge form and the checks with you so that you can process it. Um, um, the pledge forms can also be mailed to the coordinator. The only difficulty is that we do not encourage folks to make pledges we don't encourage them to mail cash to the office, but they can definitely send checks through the mail with the pledge form. It is possible for employees to make multiple pledges online or with the pledge forms. There are some employees who may want to do second donations, and when they do make those donations, because of maybe multiple events that may occur. For example, last year we had several disasters, and employees made more than 2 payroll deduction pledges. Those pledges will be combined for one overall deduction from their paycheck. The second pledge will not cancel out the first pledge. Because of the date that we receive information, any person hired after December 31st will not receive an electronic e-pledge notice. They will need to use a paper pledge form. So please check with your HR director to identify those employees and make sure that those employees get blank forms, blank pledge forms. When you're taking a look, when you're reviewing the forms, because remember that the coordinators are the first ones to review the pledge forms, and then I also review when I pick them up. So you are the first line in checking for accuracy in reviewing the pledge forms. Okay. You first need to make sure that you check to make sure that the employee has their name and last and the employee number, the agency where they're in and what county that they are located. Okay. Jackie, I think, discussed this with you when she was going through the e-pledge. There are two types of payrolls. Most employees are paid 26 times a year. And then we have some employees that are also paid 12 times a year. So employees will reflect how they are paid through these boxes where it says payroll deduction. Okay. And then the employee may indicate also, in addition, how much on this form they would like to have deducted per pay period. If when the employee puts that information in the pay period amount, that information then will be multiplied by the number of times that they are paid. So for example, if they put $10 per pay period, then it'll be 260. Or if it's $20, then it'll be $520 for the yearly pledge. Employees then will go through the resource guide and determine where, like Jackie went over with you earlier, how to select it. But because they're doing this online by paper, they'll go through the resource guide and select the 5-digit charity code that they would like to allocate for each of the charities that they want to contribute to. The total amount of the total yearly pledge should match the total amount of all the amounts that are allocated over here. So if the employee says $20 per pay period, then it'll be $520 for the total yearly contribution, and the designating amounts should total $520. It does not mean that the employee must allocate to charity. They can choose to allocate $400 to a designated charity and the $100 to undesignated, and the total will come to $520. Then, of course, the employee will need to sign it and date it. The employee will also need to, in this box, under donor options, the employees can choose to make their donation anonymously. And if that's what they wish to do, they will have to check this box. That is all the information that I have for the pledge form. Are there any questions that I can answer regarding the pledge forms? Okay. Just remember that the new hire cutoff date is today, to make sure that you check with HR to identify the employees that were hired after July 31st, so that you make sure that they will get the pledge form so that they can complete it. The next item that I wanted to go over. Okay, employees also in the pledge form can choose to make, okay, I'll go back and talk about that. If employees want to make one-time contributions, they can also do that by attaching a check to CCC and attaching it to the pledge form. And this is where the one-time contribution and the contribution methods, they can either do payroll or one-time contribution. If the employee decide to make a one-time contribution, they can write a check and or give cash and attach that amount to the payroll information. I've got to talk about that. Sorry about that. So the next thing I want to talk about is the special event. Special events. The special events are items or things that the agency may choose to organize to raise funds for CCC. Okay. Your agency may have fundraisers during the campaign, and money for the fundraiser is documented on this special event form. If the fundraiser is supporting a particular charity, then we recommend that you advertise this so that everyone knows what charity the fundraiser is going to be, where the amount is going to go towards. On this form, the agency, you would print the agency name, where the agency is located, and what the union, that if the agency is, if a union made a contribution towards this special event, that information will be logged in here. Information provided, checks that are collected during the special event can be documented on the first box. If you have more than one box, if you have more than one check, then you will just indicate that there are various checks in the second box where it says check number. The second box below that, where it talks about attachment, it talks about when the amounts are collected, the agency may choose to make a deposit at the bank. And I'll go over the deposit letter and the deposit slip later on. But if the amount is deposited at the bank, then you would indicate, you would check this next box and you indicate how much was deposited on the next line and the date in which it was deposited. In addition, the agency may choose to allocate the funds to charities of their choice by putting the 5-digit codes in these boxes over here, and the amount that they are allocating to it and the name of the charity. The total pledge then should either match the checks attached and all the amounts deposited. The next line will be where the special event name would be and the date in which it was held. And then the coordinator then will, of course, would sign it and provide his or her information in the next box. So the next item I'm going to go over is, are there any questions regarding the special event forms? If I'm talking too fast, please let me know so I can slow down. I tend to talk a little bit fast. So the next item I want to go over is the deposit letter and or deposit slip. This is a deposit letter which is pre-printed with the agency, with CCC information, United Way's information, and when monies are collected, okay, this is a deposit authorization. Oops, the deposit authorization tells that everyone, there are copies available both on the website and also in the packets that were sent out to you. It tells you the account number, which the CCC account number that a fifth third that the amount needs to be deposited in, and the deposit should go to CCC, and this is the account number. So when deposits, you make these deposits, when you fill the forms out, which I'll pick up, or you would send to me, the copies of it should be included in the report envelope, so that it will tell us, that it's for your agency. Because if you make a deposit and you don't give us a copy of that, a copy of the deposit slip, then we will know what agency the deposit, who made the deposit. Is that clear? Or that seemed a little bit jumbled.
One thing,
Jackie.
Georgina, one thing we can add is that we're getting materials ready now. Some agencies that did the in-person training yesterday, some of them already received their campaign materials. We are still waiting right now for deposit slips. But like Georgina said, you have that deposit authorization letter that has the account number on it. So if you're get your stuff and you have an event and you don't have a deposit slip, you can always take the letter into the bank, and it's got the information on it as well. And so they can deposit it into the CCC account of Fifth Third without having a deposit slip. As long as you've got the account number there on the letter, it should be okay. And then the receipt that she's talking about is the receipt that you'll get back from the bank.
And that is the receipt that you will attach with your, you place with your campaign report envelope or your special event envelope that you will submit for your event. So the next item I'm going to go over is the campaign report envelope. And the campaign report envelope is what reports the transactions that have occurred for your campaign outside of the what Jackie talked about. What Jackie talked about, it's not going to be included in the campaign report envelope. The campaign report includes one-time contributions, special events, and also pledge forms. Okay. So in completing this account number that's over here, if you know if you leave it blank, I can fill it out for you, because we have every agency's account number, and I can place that information in there for you. Last year, the campaign report envelopes have changed. Last year, it specifically indicated that it was a state of Ohio campaign report envelope. This year, United Way is using the same campaign report envelope for State of Ohio, Franklin County, and Ohio State University. So it is very important for the coordinator to indicate that this envelope is part of the State of Ohio CCC campaign. And then, of course, you would place the agency information here, the address, and if there's a district, and the location information here. In the second box, typically, unless this is the final campaign, you would always say no here, because it's an ongoing campaign. So for the first 2, 3, 4 till the final campaign, you would always indicate that it's no in this box. And there's a note here that do not include amounts reported in previous envelopes in the items below here. So based on if it's a one-time contribution, whether it's cash, check, or payroll pledges, you would indicate the number of donors that you've included in the envelope and the total amount of pledges in here. If you have a special event, that you are reporting in this campaign report envelope, you would indicate that amount here, and then you would add the two, and then of course you would check this box. You would check this box if, for example, if a deposit slip is included. If you made a deposit, then you make sure that you check this box that you've made a deposit at the bank, because there are a lot of agencies that once they have an event or they've something, they have a one-time contribution, they go ahead and make the deposit and just send the receipt in the envelope because they don't want to keep the checks around. And then, of course, the coordinator will sign the information. And then one of the most important things is that the campaign coordinator does not need to seal the envelope, because when I come to pick up the envelope, we are going to go over the information in box 3, which will show the number of payroll pledges, any amounts, cash amounts, and or checks that you may have. And I would need to count it in front of you, so that then once you sign it, I will sign it as the campaign liaison, and then I'll give you the top copy of the envelope, which is the white part of the envelope, for you to keep as your record going forward. Do you guys have any questions at this point, or anything that was not very clear? Jackie, could you go over the payroll pledges and deposits? The things that you can't have in the envelope, please?
Yeah, Georgina did talk about the deposit slips and how you check that box if you made a deposit, and that indicates that a deposit slip is included in the campaign report envelope. The way our system works is that you can include a deposit slip and paper payroll pledges. Mm-hmm. So that's what you see on this screen. That $25 represents the deposit that was made. It says it's cash, but it's supported by that deposit slip. You cannot include in the same campaign report envelope a deposit slip and cash and checks. So the deposit, and that's because the deposit slip represents money that has already been deposited into an account, and then the cash and the check, if there were any, is money that is yet to be deposited. So it's just kind of easier for our finance team when they get this information to reconcile monies that have been deposited with the Fifth Third account. So one of the requests we have is that if you have cash and checks from special events, or even that are attached to pledge forms, that you don't put it in the same envelope with money that has already been deposited through using your deposit slips. So the example that's on screen is perfectly fine. That's acceptable because you have paper payroll pledge forms and a deposit slip. But if you had pledge forms that included cash and checks, or if you had special event money that included cash and checks, you can't put it in the same envelope with a deposit slip. So we kind of say just one deposit slip per envelope, and that's kind of what we stick to. It just makes it a little bit easier for reporting purposes for our finance team.
Okay. And I just received an email from someone. I may have misspoke. Yesterday, we had the in-person coordinators training, and those that were there, I gave them their campaign packet. So for the virtual people today, I have yet to deliver your campaign packets to you. So I'll be doing this in the coming couple of weeks before the campaign starts on August 20th. So if you plan to be in the office, I'm normally in the office on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I can deliver it any day. If you happen to be downtown or you happen to be in the office Tuesdays and Thursdays, just let me know and I'll deliver it to you on those days that you're in the office. So, for example, education, I have not delivered it to you because you were not on the premises yesterday. Those that were on the premises yesterday at our office received their packets. but the rest of the people that are doing virtual have yet to deliver your package to you. Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, Brian.
All right. Thank you very much. Right. Well, as we move along.
No matter what you're up against, we have your back.
We are United Way. We are neighbors helping neighbors.
In communities around the world, when disaster strikes,
we get you back on your feet.
We help children build brighter futures.
We've been here for over 135 years.
But now, our work is more important than ever.
Join us.
Join your neighbors. Join United Way.
Right. So I am now going to go over some other materials, one of which is the campaign website, and it was actually this right here. It is that ohio.gov/Ohio CCC, and you will be getting, in the email that you got this morning and all of the emails that come out, there will be a link to that. It has an amazing amount of information, just like ePledge, but the resource guide is here as well. Coordinator listing, if a donor, an employee didn't know who their coordinator was, they could look up and see, oh, it's one of you. It has once we get the new videos, they will be updated. So we will have the new video once we have the new promotional video, and then once we have the new after we've done the kickoff, then that video will be on here. And for you coordinators, there is an amazing amount of information from the resource guides and fillable forms, not just printable ones, but ones that you can actually fill in here. Just like Jackie said on the ePledge, alpha and numeric charity indexes. So all kinds of information is available on this website, in addition to the videos and all of that. Are there any questions on the website? No? So there are other, pieces of information and that are available. This is something that's on that website as well, that you can print off, a thank you flyer that you would be able to provide if people make donations. It shows all of the federations listed. Campaign posters you can print yourself. We don't print out anymore, the large ones, with many people working remotely and the cost of printing. We have these available. You can print them if you want and put them around in the office for those who are working in office, or they can just be used electronically. They're available on the website. You could also, print or use electronically, and I support the campaign, and you can put the name of the charity or federation that you support. We really encourage employees to give us any feedback, their testimonials on charities that they've had any interaction, support with. If they've been touched by any of these 1,000 charities that are a part of the campaign, it is so helpful to get feedback, to get their story, their personal story. whether they've been helped by or they've volunteered at or a neighbor has been helped, and they can share their story even anonymously. They can let us know, and we have some of these testimonials are in the resource guide you will see, or in the emails that go out weekly. Sometimes these help potential donors, connect emotionally and make that decision to make a gift because they, might recognize a name of somebody they work with who was helped by a charity or whatever. So if you've been helped by one of these charities, or you just really like supporting a particular charity and you want to write why, feel free and email us that. And we will, keep track of that for you. Also, we have next in our discussion, special events. We talked about the paperwork for special events, but there's also the special events themselves and doing the special events. And this, rather than just me discussing, we want this to be a discussion, a group discussion. We have a lot of experts here. A lot of steering committee members are part of this conversation. They are here to answer questions or offer things that they've done, work that they've done on events or anything else with regards to the campaign to help you. Or if you have questions about doing events, these are highlighted in yellow, ones that are virtual, but we've been doing this for 4 years, and I think most people kind of get it as to what can be done virtually or not. And these are some of the samples we've used from past years, but there are so many others that people have thought up year after year. So I will open it up to the floor, either if there are coordinators here who have questions about or suggestions, or if there are steering committee members who are present who would like to make suggestions and comments about how to run events successfully or things to remember and keep in mind. I'd be happy to open the floor up to anybody.
I'm Shannon Wolford. I'm new to the state, as well as working on the campaign as a coordinator. And I have a question concerning whether or not we can do 50-50 raffle pools. If half of the money goes in for the
right,
the donation, and then the other half goes to the winner.
The winner. Yeah,
Yep.
no, that's a great question. We get questions about those and other types of similar raffles and so forth. And unfortunately, per state regulations, no games of chance of any kind are allowed. So no 50-50 or any types of raffles of any kind are allowed in any of the fundraising or events. That is not allowed per the state regulations.
Does that include football pools, where half of the money would go in for the donation, and then the other half would go to the winners?
Yeah, it's still a game of chance because they don't have control over it. So yes, it still would be considered gambling, so to speak, by the state. Yeah.
Okay.
This is Jackie Murray. I can chime in on that.
Thank you very much. Great.
No problem. Through the years, if you have questions as far as games of chance or anything, check with your legal folks. Or you can reach out to the Department of Administrative Services. The legal team there would be able to answer that. But historically, no games of chance, no gambling. We have done silent auctions. And you're free to reach out to me at jackie.murray@governor.ohio.gov, and I will help get any answers that you need on that. Hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you very much, Jackie. Yes, appreciate that. And that's a big question that we get every year, and so appreciate you bringing that up. Are there other questions regarding running events and how to do it? There were questions yesterday about seed money. There are sometimes agencies who might have some money. They would be leadership within an agency or a union who might be willing to offer money to help seed the event, get it started, and therefore all of the money raised can help go to the particular charity that it's being supported, or the cause, the campaign. But we don't personally have any support of that, or if that would be something you would need to check with your leadership or union to see if that's something that would be available. We don't have anything on that, but sometimes that is available.
I will add in on that. Sometimes if you have a special event, say you want to do a pizza sale. I know when I was at the Department of Administrative Services, we would reach out to, a local Donato's or whoever and say, we're going to do this fundraiser. Can you give us a discount on pizzas? And then we would in turn up our prices because it's for charity and use that discounted price to help raise funds. We did it with ice cream socials with graders. We would have like a potluck, and we would have places like chicken places that might sell us chicken at a lower rate. And we would let them know that this was for a charity, and they would give us, the goods at a discounted price. So that might be something you might consider.
Great. Thank you, Jack. Anything else anybody has regarding events? Questions, comments, suggestions? Is there a hand up, I think? Yes.
Yeah, this is Kim. Okay, so I want to make sure I understand about the game of chances. So say if I reach out to like COSI to try to see if they could donate family tickets, right? Again, you're saying we're not able to, I guess, raffle, because that's a game of chance, those tickets.
Right.
Okay. So so we could, when we do this, we ask for donations from like COSI, the zoo, and put them in a basket, right? And then we just have people vote on the silent auction for baskets of entertainment for their families. That would be okay, right? So we're able to get stuff like that.
They have control. It's not a game of chance. It can be said, here are tickets to get in to the zoo, and they can auction and they can say, I'm going to bid this much. Somebody else sees it. They can overbid that if they want. And that's something that can be done. Chris, you have a comment to that or a question?
Well, yeah, I mean, I know I've been here for a while and been doing this for a while, but when it comes to donations, I did not think we were allowed to approach businesses for donations of items. I think, like Jackie, I know you said you went to businesses and they gave you a discounted rate, but are we allowed to approach businesses for donations?
I think as long as the business is not a business your agency does business with, you can ask for donations.
I think that's really hard because I think, well, I mean, I guess like our agency, we do business with everyone in the state. So
that's, Chris, a great question. And it's one that when we're doing the training, we don't like come out and recommend, go out and you know, we wrestle with this every year, like where we don't put into the training, go out and reach out to businesses in the area because of what you're saying and what Jackie just said. So we do recommend that you contact your leadership within your agency, and like Jackie Murray said earlier, you know, legal within your area, and find out before you do anything like, you know, that. And there are certain agencies where they might be perfectly fine with that, and in other ones they may not be. So if there's not a blanket exemption where you cannot do it, like games of chance, but you would want to make sure that it is okay with leadership and within your area.
Okay, thank you so much.
Are there other questions? These are great. We've gotten a lot of good information.
Brian, I have a question, but it's not about events, so I don't know if I'm jumping the agenda or not.
No, keep going. That's fine.
So I'm with the Ohio Department of Youth Services, and earlier this year, we held a competition with Hamilton County Juvenile Court for a sock drive for a charity called Shoes for the Shoeless. And after that event, I had a flood of employees here approach me and state, hey, Ryan, it's January. It would be awesome to get this charity onboarded into the CCC booklet for this campaign. So I reviewed my records in advance of this meeting, and I started on January 24th with that process. And Ms. Bradley has been very helpful, but I have hit a wall. United Way, you know, the little 30-second clip you just shared earlier said, come join us. To be kind of blunt, they've like put up a stone wall and sort of indicated there is a cap to the amount of charities that they will allow under their federation. Is there anyone on the call that might have some expertise, some experience, some advice? I can
answer that.
Okay.
Yeah, United Way also has a very specific area now that has to do with education for third grade, that it has to fall within certain areas. So there's some restrictions, but there are a lot of other federations, and I would be happy to speak with you offline about some of the other federations that you might want to look into, that would be, you know, possible for you to contact and see about seeing if this organization would be eligible to join. So just reach out to me or, you know, afterwards, and we can contact.
Thank you very much, Brian. I appreciate that.
Yep. Are there any other questions? I'll go ahead and move forward, and then we can see if there are other questions. The timeline as we get moving forward here, we're in the pre-campaign area. You know, we're promoting the video is getting ready to come up. The first video or email came out today. You may want to start getting, you know, if you have a committee or other people you're going to be working with, you may want to start having informational meetings with them. Ask your director to, you know, start having meetings or say words at the beginning of meetings, things that you want to look into. And then it goes into what you might want to look into doing each and every week of the 8-week campaign. And as their campaign starts to wrap up, as you would want to be sending final reminders and all of that. And that the due date for payroll deduction forms, the paper forms, is October 18th. Some of the key dates We've said it several times throughout the training. The kickoff is August 20th. So the campaign dates, August 20th to October 18th. For those who have done this before, you might be familiar with the touch base meetings, and those who are first-time coordinators, I'll explain these. We have 2 additional like open training sessions, so to speak, but they're not organized like this training. They're just stop by 1-hour sessions during the campaign where you can ask questions, stop by and listen to other people asking questions, get information. You don't have to stay the whole time. You can just, swing by, ask a few questions, leave, whatever. They're a great place to have a resource. One a couple of weeks into the campaign, and one a few weeks before the campaign ends, to kind of help you get ready to wrap up the campaign. And then again, as you get ready to wrap up, the kickoff poster, we have these printed and ready. They will be out in a couple of the towers downtown. The kickoff will be again in the lobby of the Rhodes office tower from 11:30 to 1. The presentation will be from noon to 12:30. You to share the information, promote the campaign, be creative, ask for help. We are here to help you. Whether you're volunteering or we're voluntold, we know this isn't your daily job, and we appreciate the help that you're giving us. And so please reach out and contact us, your liaison, or myself or Janine, and let us know if you have questions throughout the campaign. And we're here to help you in any way that we can. Are there more questions that you have? You will be getting an email that will have a survey. We would appreciate that you, complete the survey. It certainly helps us be able to know the things that you found effective and helpful in your learning method, and maybe things that would help you learn more effectively in the future. So as we wrap up, are there any other, have I missed anything, any comments or hands up in the chat or anything here, any questions? If you think of anything after the meeting has finished, just reach out to us. Nothing else, then I would like to thank you all again for coming to the coordinator training for the 2024 combined charitable campaign. We look forward to working with you, and hope we make this the best campaign yet. Thank you very much.